Welcome back to another episode of the Filmahawk. This is our top shelf series where we take whatever topic we're doing and we make a list of it. So we usually do a top 10. Sometimes we just do random rankings, but today we're going to be doing the top 10 favorite movie characters of the 2000s. Last week we did our top 10 films of the 2000s, which you can go check out on the channel. I've already changed my mind on those. So yeah, we're doing the characters this week though. So to start things off, like we always do, we take our honorable mentions and discuss those. We do 5 honorable mentions. So Ethan, do you want to go first? Give me your honorable mentions of favorite movie characters of the 2000s.
All right. Number 15. I can't imagine you even consider this person, but just
probably not.
Love this character. I used to. It's getting old now. But I've got Dominic Toretto.
Because I like Brian more than I like Dom anyways. So if I chose anybody, it would be him.
Man. I don't know. I got Dominic, dude. He's just so cool. Especially like the first Fast and Furious. Just this mystery to him right when you sit there. You meet him just sitting there in his restaurant or convenience store, whatever it is. We don't really. It's not clear.
It's like one of those gas stations that has a diner in it.
Yeah, and it's not like he invented cheats is what that's is what you're telling me. So he absolutely deserves to be on this list. Like I say, he's just such a cool character. Number 14.
Any beer you want, as long as it's Corona.
Yeah, I've got you right beside me. Number 14, I've got Spider-Man. Really enjoy the first 2 films. The third one, I think it's garbage. But this is, kind of the only thing I like with Tobey Maguire that I can think of. I think he was perfect choice for Spider-Man during that time. Number 13, I got The Bride from Kill Bill. Yeah, made it. And I thought about it. I like Kill Bill more than you, I think, unless something's changed.
The films.
Yeah, the films.
I love the character, but the films.
Lucy Liu's character almost made it on my honorable mentions.
Really?
And if I rewatched it, it might have been higher than The Bride. I really love her character in the movie. Number 12, we got another Tarantino character, Shoshana Dreyfus, on here. I know that's on your actual list, I think. But I was going through thinking of people, and like I say, she was really, was it Melanie Laurent?
Yeah.
So her performance was a lot of why she's on this list, but character is also pivotal in that movie, and that was in my top 10 of the 2000s overall. At number 11, my last honorable mention, I got Bill the Butcher Cutting. Just an amazing villain. Somebody it's incredible. You just get lost in the role. Daniel Day-Lewis just kills it. One of the only times, like I say, along with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that somebody in a more supporting role shows up Leo.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen much, but like I say, it's incredible when it does. Like I say, Daniel Day-Lewis, just commits to every role. So, like I say, you're terrified of this character, even though he's just on your TV screen. He's just on your TV. He's fake, but it's it is terrifying. You would not want to be Leo or Liam Neeson, obviously.
Or Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah, he has a brutal one, too. But those are my honorable mentions.
If we were doing a list of performance, I would definitely have Daniel Day-Lewis on there for Bill the Butcher, but he didn't make it on my list. So to go to my honorable mentions, though, and starting with number 15 is one that I know did not even consider. So I'll give you the pass on Dom there, and that is Donkey from Shrek and Shrek 2. Not any of the other sequels. I know Shrek 3 at least came out in that decade, but those were garbage. But Shrek and Shrek 2 are underrated. I don't care what anyone says. 2 of the best animated films ever. So creative. at the visuals at that. You can say what you want about the animation now. The animation back then for Shrek was fantastic. I was blown away seeing it as a kid in theaters. But you know, I don't watch the movies for Shrek. I watch them for Donkey. Eddie Murphy was the perfect choice to play Donkey. His best role after he moved on from doing regular adult films and started pushing his family career that he did with all of those films. But yeah, Donkey was perfect. I think he's hilarious. Love seeing him. One of my favorite animated characters. So he's number 15. Moving to 14 is another Daniel Day-Lewis character, and that is Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood. This character is just amazing, but he is not very likable. But he's an amazing character, and Daniel Day-Lewis's performance easily put him on this list of honorable mentions, at least. Number 13 is one that you also had, and that is Peter Parker / Spider-Man. Obviously, if you know me, I'm a huge fan of those original Sam Raimi first two films, especially the first one, but both of those are perfect to me, Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 3 is not a good movie, but I do watch it usually when I watch the other two, just for a guilty pleasure. There's some enjoyable stuff with Harry Osborn in that movie, but anyways, he's number 13, Spider-Man. Number 12 is Joel Barish from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Jim Carrey's best performance just leads you through this film. You feel the emotions that he's feeling while watching this movie. I did consider Clementine too, but she just didn't make it on the list, but love Joel in this movie. And then my number 11, my final honorable mention, is one that you're going to kill me for, but it's not on my actual top 10, and that is Joker from The Dark Knight.
God.
Yes, he is only he was on my list originally, and then after I reevaluated it today, he got pushed to honorable mentions.
Insane with who I know you just kicked him out with.
I love, this is the best Joker that we will, I think, ever get on the big screen. Love it. Heath Ledger's performance is amazing. If we were doing a list of performances, this would be towards the top, if not at the top. And but looking at the character, and it's like there isn't any redeeming qualities of the Joker. There's no backstory, obviously, and that's what makes, I guess you could say, the character work and everything. But just when I'm analyzing the character and everything and picking ones that I want to put in my top 10, he didn't end up making the cut. He almost did, but the fact that he is kind of not as well-rounded as some of the other characters, I put him at number 11. Sorry. He's probably like your number 2. Your number 1?
We'll get there.
Oh, man. Okay, guys, here is our top 10. Go ahead and start with your number 10.
Number 10, I got Hermione Granger.
Almost made him honorable mentions, but didn't.
Easily my favorite Harry Potter character. Just so likable. Like everything she goes through. Kind of at points like make her like the third wheel. At the back. Like I didn't like parts of that. It just felt like pushed her to the side. But just everything about this character, like especially one of my favorite moments in the franchise is when she has to like erase her parents' memory of her. I was like, just brutal for what the character. But yeah, that's my number 10. Starting off.
Start off with my number 10 is one that may surprise you, or it could be in your list, and that's Hans Landa from Inglourious Basterds.
That's my number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Jumping ahead here. Yeah. Now, you may ask, why would I put a Nazi here in my top 10? But he's not. He is a Nazi, and he is a villain, and he is just an awful character. But with that being said, he is so well developed and written, and Christoph Waltz's performance is phenomenal. But looking at this character and looking at every little move that he does, when he checks the lady's pulse at the beginning, these just little things that he does. He's so good at his job. He's like being this detective within the Nazi, whatever. um, I don't know what word I was looking for, but
you got it. It was Nazi.
yeah, he was a Nazi. But they also look at the reasonings behind that too. And he was proud of what he was proud of what he did.
He was proud of being a detective.
Yeah, his accomplishments.
He pointed out, he just said, obviously I'm gonna work for the Nazis.
No, but that's the thing. Like he also, there was part of it that he did that to survive. That doesn't like give me any sort of redeeming quality of him, but it makes you understand the character of what he does. That's why ultimately at the end of the film, it's him that ends the war.
Yeah.
He had the decision in that moment, like that he could have just killed them and everything would have went on as normal. But he makes the decision that he cuts that deal with Aldo and then the U.S. government, all that, to make that deal to go to the United States and to end the war and let Hitler die.
Yeah,
So.
like I say, Bill the Butcher is in my honorable mentions, who's a villain, and obviously he's my number. Hans Landa's my number 2, and like I said, we'll get to Joker. But they're just because they're villains to me doesn't mean like they're not going to be on my top list. Because sometimes those are the more interesting characters and more well developed.
And I agree. If you look at my list of the 2010s, I had a couple villains on there. I had Kylo Ren, which you consider him a villain if you want to, and also had Thanos on there. But it's just like, if I can understand their motivations and whether not me finding them likable or not, like, I don't know, Bill the Butcher, I did consider him today when I was reevaluating everything, but ultimately, he is a racist, and I don't know, he just didn't make it on mine for me. And Joker, honorable mentions, but didn't make it on my list because I don't know. His motivation just seems like it's like chaos.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
I'll let you talk about it when you get there.
Yeah.
What is your number 9?
I hope you're ready to talk because I got Lieutenant Aldo Raine.
Oh, damn, dude, that's my number 1. That's my favorite character of the decade.
Oh right. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Having the number 9, which obviously is way lower than you, but when I'm looking at these others, I'm just blown away by those characters. It doesn't take away from him because obviously Brad Pitt's performance is incredible. I don't think he's as well written as Hans Landa, but I'm not saying he's poorly.
No,
written.
But they're different.
He serves his purpose.
Yeah.
I wish you could have got a little bit more backstory on him. That might have pushed him up higher.
I definitely wish, how Tarantino is doing these extended cuts now, with the Hateful Eight and with Once Upon a Time. I wish we could have got that from Glorious Bastards as well, because I would like to see more backstory of how he got that scar on his neck, all sorts of things.
Definitely put stuff in there that makes him interesting, but if you'd have just explained 1 or 2 lines about that, it could have definitely bumped him up for me.
Part of me though, a huge reason he's number 1 is Brad Pitt. If this had been a different actor in the role, he would probably still be on my list somewhere, but he wouldn't be number 1. Brad Pitt's probably my favorite actor, or at least my second favorite actor. So just any role that he does is going to elevate it to a different level for me. Especially when you have Tarantino crafting that character. Like you said, there's little interesting things about it. Brad Pitt's performance, he just makes every character so much cooler than it probably is even on the page.
Yeah.
So.
What's the little things? I don't know if you ever figured it out. I never did. What he's putting in his nose.
It's we looked into it. It was was it snuff?
I can't remember.
It's
it's it just doesn't seem believable to me.
It's not like dip, but it's a whatever version of dip you would snort.
I don't know. That's creepy.
That's what I looked it up and read from that. Yeah. But little character choices like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what he's number 9 on mine, but it's not terrible character because of that. So obviously he's on the list.
And I just love the decision he makes at the end too. to
Yeah.
do his masterpiece and carve that swastika into Hans Landa's forehead
That's
and kill the other Nazi that's there too. He's not even making it back.
Yeah.
Man, he was just
you're
like,
not letting him get away just because.
yeah.
I mean, what he said, I've been yelled at before.
Yeah, I've been
But
yelled at.
even then, what are they going to do? Like you have that scar forever, so it doesn't matter
exactly.
if he does get fired. You're the one that's got to walk around with that. So yeah, he may not have a job, but doesn't have a swastika in his forehead.
And the war's over, so.
Yeah. So people are going back to the country, USA, get a job, enjoy Nantucket Island with that.
I would love to see what Aldo does after this movie too. What's his future like?
Who knows?
Man, I just like so many like things I'd like to see Tarantino just like develop. Just write a novel based off that. And also too, is Aldo somehow related to Cliff? Whether they're cousins or whatnot.
I don't know. Well, I know I looked. He mentions it. Jim Bridgers is in it, which is actually one of the characters in The Revenant.
Right.
I saw that. Thought that was pretty cool. Because I guess he's some kind of resemblance there.
Cliff has a Native American tattoo on his arm.
Yeah.
Too, and he was in World War II.
He was a Green Beret.
Yeah.
I don't think in that booklet, I don't think it explained his tattoos. So the one that I have. So
that's interesting to me.
And
when Tarantino's characters, how he makes all of them sort of connected in some way. A lot of the times, like Tim Roth's character in Hateful Eight is the great grandfather of Michael Fassbender's character in Inglourious Basterds.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay. That should have been Christoph Waltz.
All right. That was your number 9?
Yep.
My number 1. So going on to my number 9, I know this is on your list too, and that is Tony Stark / Iron Man.
Number
5. Tony was really high up on my list for the 2010s because that's when we really get most of his character art and development and his really good performances, but still made it on my number 9 for his performance in this first film. Just bringing the character of Tony Stark to life and really making himself like just identify with that character. Like when you see Robert Downey Jr. now and how he acts, it's very much like Tony Stark because he made that character him.
I don't know. So mine's different. Like I say, I only include characters like this is his first decade as Iron Man.
Right.
So that's why he's on this list, and he's so high because I'm looking at his films overall. Like even though he was only Man 2, but it's like I'm like, if this is your first decade in the role, that's kind of where I'm placing it, and then just looking at all his movies overall. Because if I didn't, he would be on this list lower down, but he would be on my 2010s as well.
So that's what I do because I like to look at the individual film that they're in. That's why this is just him off of Iron Man, which he comes in as this playboy. He's got a really funny his little choices he makes, and then he ends up by the end of this film making the decision to be the hero and changing, but not changing like we're going to see in the 2010s. That's why he was much higher on that list for me.
Yeah, but he's my number 5.
All right, well, number 8.
I got Jack Sparrow.
Not making on my list.
Yeah. Well, I just rewatched that trilogy, and he's just so captivating. That performance and just like the character overall, you're just rooting for him. The whole time, as crazy as he is, all his schemes he's got, just amazing. You need to revisit that.
I do want to revisit him. He is somebody who I did like when I made like a really long list of a bunch of characters who could be on the list. He was one I put down, but ultimately, like I haven't seen it in a while. Hermione and Sirius Black are my 2 favorite Harry Potter characters, and I consider both of them for this list. But it's been like a little bit, even though I was watching them last summer. I think I started trying to rewatch them, and I didn't finish it. if I jump back into it, they might be higher on my list now, but I don't know.
Well, like I say, I just rewatched them a few weeks ago, but like I say, especially in the first movie, it's just the introduction to the character and just all these mannerisms, like just so fun to watch. And just overall, like his arc he gets, ultimately he's forced to sacrifice himself.
But you're like, I mean, if you were doing just the films he were in the 2000s, that's the first 3 films.
There's not a.
But like you're saying, you're going to do all of them.
There's not a film.
You got to consider his performance in that 5th film.
There's not a 4th and 5th film. I don't know what you're talking about. They're rebooting it. That might be you're confused with.
What I'm talking about.
But I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, he is on my number 8.
My number 8 is somebody who you already mentioned in your honorable mentions, and that is Shoshana from Inglourious Basterds. Really good performance, but the character, I just love the character, how she's written. Honestly, I thought about putting her higher, but I went with number 8. I don't know who you would consider the main villain, the main character of this film. Obviously, the main villains, the antagonist is Hans Landa, but I've always looked at Aldo as the main character, the protagonist, because it's called Inglourious Basterds, and that's his group. But really, you can make an argument, and maybe even that's the fact, is that Shoshana would be the protagonist, the lead, because she's in the opening part of the film. Even though you're not focused on her, you're focused on Hans Landa and the French farmer. But she's in the bottom, she's under the floorboards, and she runs, and she's the only one who gets away in that scene. And then you follow her journey really throughout the rest of the film, and ultimately everything that happens at the theater is her. Even though the bastards had this plan and they went in there and they were going to blow it up and all this. Like, that's not what ends up happening. She makes the plan to burn the theater down and lock everyone inside. And that works. And she kills Daniel Bruhl's character, which, she doesn't make it either, unfortunately. But her goal at that point is achieved. She does burn the theater down with all the Nazis inside of it. And her goal wasn't to end the war, which the bastards ends up sort of accomplishing. Really, it's, I guess, Hans Landa, but her goal was to kill all those Nazis, and she achieves it. So, which is great justice considering what happens to her family.
Yeah, they didn't make it.
They did not, unfortunately.
But it's, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who you like. It's honestly kind of like a 3-way lead, even though he won for supporting actor. The other 2 weren't nominated, so you guess you could. And even then, that's kind of just what they want to push the Academy for. But it's kind of like a 3-way lead. Kind of like Once Upon a Time. Like, Leo and Brad Pitt are both leads, but they put him in supporting just for the Oscar.
Right. I mean, and I can see how you would push Leo as lead in that film, but really, you're following both of their journeys. Like, Brad Pitt, you're following Cliff's that whole day, him doing his own thing while Leo's doing his own thing.
So I mean, it would have been interesting if they had pushed not only the Ron and Brad Pitt for Oscars, which categories they would have been in.
Yeah. And I really think they should have, Pitt might have actually been nominated. I can't remember.
I don't think so.
Maybe not.
I don't think he will.
I'll look into it later. Who is your number 7?
Number 7, I don't know if he's on your list. I've got Logan/Wolverine.
He is not on my list, no.
Well, how dare you. Love this character in the X-Men movies. Obviously, that's mainly because of Hugh Jackman and his incredible performances. But it changes throughout all the films. Like, obviously,
Brad Pitt was not nominated.
I know. I told you. But he starts out, the first X-Men, just super dark, like a loner. And as you progress, you get, he gets more involved with the X-Men, more as a family. But still, obviously, like the main character in these movies. So yeah, it's Hugh Jackman's performance that makes this up so high. Like I said, if this was another person in the role, maybe it would make the honorable mentions, but maybe not.
Logan might would have made it. He might would have made it on my list for the 2010s. He was somebody I thought of for that because I think his best performances came from that decade with Logan. Not only Logan, but also Days of Future Past and even the Wolverine. I mean, he was good in these movies and especially X-Men and X-Men 2. But those other ones were just so bad that I didn't. I mean, he wasn't bad in them, but
yeah.
My number 7, I'm not sure if you consider this person or not, and that's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Was my number 7 for Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
That's my number 6.
Okay.
Because like I say, technically you get Ben Kenobi in the 70s, which is Obi-Wan.
I'm really surprised you put him in here because he's in the 90s too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of weird because even I don't know. It's like you said for Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. It's like two. Like I don't feel that was one of my problems with Phantom Menace is that you don't really feel like you get Obi-Wan Kenobi in that movie.
He's underused in Phantom Menace.
It's just like he's just a character, just there, honestly. So like yeah, he's technically the same actor in the 90s too. But it's like this decade just feel like totally different to me.
Definitely.
For that character. Like say obviously Ewan McGregor, same role, but I just couldn't forget about it.
We also had, like you said, he wasn't used as much. Qui-Gon is mainly the main character, I would say, like the protagonist in Phantom Menace. Which Anakin's the protagonist in these next two films, but Obi-Wan is the master. He's a much bigger role. And Attack of the Clones is based 10 years after Phantom Menace, so he's older. He's in his mid-30s now. Yeah. And then Revenge of the Sith is 3 more years after that. He's so much more wiser. His character just overall has more weight to it and is impactful to the story. If he was just in Attack of the Clones, he would not have made it on the list. Although I do like him in Attack of the Clones. He's the best part of that film, especially the stuff. What's that?
It's Revenge of the Sith that puts him up.
Exactly. Him in Revenge of the Sith is amazing. From him and his fights with General Grievous, kills him. But the stuff at the end, the stuff with Anakin, the performance, and even that performance is underlooked. Like when he's standing on that side of that fiery cliff, delivers that speech to Anakin. Oh my God, yeah, that's one of the best scenes of the franchise. But that's certainly the best fight of the franchise.
Second best.
Yeah, it's the best.
But that's what it just feels totally different from his 90s performance and role.
Yeah. Ultimately, too, this is another On the Rocks episode I want to put on the thing. Is because I know at one point we were going to talk about the prequels, and if we had made the prequels, what we would have done. Not the prequels, sequels. But I do want to do it with the prequels, too. Yes. So, because I have a lot of thoughts about it. If I had made the prequels, what I would have done differently. Because really, although I love Qui-Gon, Phantom Menace probably shouldn't have been a film in period. Attack of the Clones should have been episode 1, and then Revenge of the Sith should have been 2 films. But anyways, Obi-Wan, my number 7.
Well, that was my number 6. If you want to go for your number 6.
My number 6 is Barry Egan from Punch Drunk Love. I know you're super excited about that.
Man, I guess.
I think you need to rewatch the movie.
At least I own the movie.
I own it too on Steelbook.
Criterion, dude.
You don't know anything. Watched this movie last night. I'd seen it before, rewatched it last night. That's why I had to do a last-minute addition today to my list, change some stuff up, put him on here. Not only do I love the movie, got a 5 out of 5 for me, but and Adam Sandler, best performance he's ever given. Incredible. Yes, best performance. Sorry, Uncut Gems.
Man, you're crazy.
But his character is just so like, you just want to keep watching him and see what he's going to do next. Like he's got all this stuff he's dealing with. You know, his sisters fucked with him his whole life.
Yeah, all of them.
All of them, all 7.
God, lucky he made it this far.
You just keep waiting for him to explode in this movie. You're like, what is he gonna do? He's gonna fucking lose it. Like,
I wish he had.
I wish he had too.
Like that moment, like, I was just waiting for him, just like beat him to death with a phone.
I wish that it had happened. Honestly, like, it would have got a 5.5. If he had did that, that would have been amazing. But that's what I'm saying. It's like the part he does snap too with the scene in the street and beats those guys up. It's over for them. Like,
even in his sister's house, doesn't he break something in there too?
Well, that's the first time we see him snap. Yeah, at the beginning when they're fucking with him, he just smashes the window and what the fuck are you doing? That's great. And then we see him snap again when he's on the date with that character. It was about halfway through the film. He goes on the date with her, and she brings up his sister. He's like telling her all of this stuff about the puddings and everything, and then she brings up his sister, and just like triggers him. He goes to the bathroom and just has a tantrum, just fucking destroys everything in that bathroom. And then he goes back and sits down at the table, and then the owner comes back over, manager or whatever. He's like, "Sir, can I have a minute? Have to speak with you?"
Yeah. Well, it's just so short though. The movie. It's like what 90 minutes, I think.
It is, but I like that.
I don't know. Like I think I can have it at a 4.5. But that is like he's one of the directors I have like written down on a list like of all the ones I want to watch their filmographies.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 movies I haven't seen of his: Hard 8 and Inherent Vice.
I have not seen Hard 8 and Inherent Vice. I keep trying to watch it and I haven't made it through. I've watched probably the first third, which I am going to rewatch that and watch Hard 8 soon because I want to go through his movies and rewatch the ones I haven't seen in a while because I just recently watched There Will Be Blood and Punch Drunk Love. So Magnolia's next.
Yes, that's the one you've been sleeping on right there.
We'll see.
That's a different topic, but like I would put him up there with some of the like best filmographies for a director.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as a different topic, but when we do our top 10 directors, he's probably going to be my list.
Yeah, like there's like I said, he's on the list. There's a few directors like Catherine Bigelow. I want to watch all her movies, but I've seen, like I say, those are the only 2 I haven't seen of his. But I do want to rewatch them all to see like because you used to like Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I have it at a 4 or 4.5.
I have it at a 4.5, but it's been a while since I watched it. You know, at least 2017. So.
Yeah, there will be Blood and Magnolia are both 5s for me. So.
Right now, I have 2 5-star. There Will Be Blood and Punch Drunk Love are both 5 for me right now. So we'll see what happens with Magnolia. What's up?
You'll have 3.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I remember liking Magnolia a lot, but I also don't know because there's like the characters. I don't know if there's a character that I'm going to hook to in Magnolia that I want to follow as much as I do, say, Barry in this movie or Daniel in There Will Be Blood.
John C. Reilly and Melora Walters.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll get to that this week.
All right, what's your number 5?
All right, Iron Man.
Oh, you already talked about him then.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your number?
Your number 5.
How many do you have left? I have 4 left.
I have my number 4, my number 3, and my number 1.
Okay. I will go ahead and talk about my number 5, and that's another one I know you didn't consider because of the whole didn't get created in this decade. That's Rocky Balboa is my number 5 for obviously Rocky Balboa, 2006. This is the last film that we see Rocky in where he plays the lead. Obviously, he comes back after this in Creed after another decades went by and he's gotten a little bit older. But this is the last film he leads, and he is older in this movie. I don't know how old he's supposed to be. Probably somewhere in his late 50s, I would say. At
Really?
this point, but he makes the movie's about him coming back and one last fight, even though he's old and everything. And there's like that what if match between him and the champion today, and like what would happen if him and his prime went up against this, and it ends up triggering him to come back. And he's already lost Adrian, so that gives you the kind of Rocky that we're going to have in this movie. Somebody who has already lost their wife and has gotten older, and he lost everything in Rocky 5 anyways, as far as like his wealth and everything. So he's running this restaurant and doesn't have a very good relationship with his son, because his son doesn't want to live in his shadow, wants to go and do his own thing, and he's just a struggling guy. But it's a character that I already love. So seeing this older version, and just wanting to be a part of this journey that he goes through in this film, from even getting that older dog that he adopts that reminds him of him, and runs and works out with it and everything. And it's just, he's still that great friend too to Paulie, even though Paulie's still a piece of shit.
Of course.
And then he was trying to be a good dad too, trying to still have a relationship with his son. But it's the stuff with Adrian that always gets me. But yeah, number 5 for me of the decade.
That movie does have my favorite Rocky scene of all time, though. With him
What's
and
that?
Creek.
That's a good one. One day we might do favorite scenes of each decade, but I need to watch a lot more movies before
Yeah.
that. Or rewatch a lot more movies, better yet.
So many to watch.
All right, what's your number 4?
Number 4, Bruce Wayne, Batman.
All right, that's my number 2.
Christian Bale's incredible.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a bad performance from him yet.
He is somewhere in my top 10 probably favorite actors.
Yeah.
But if we were doing that other list of who is the top best actors working today, he would be in the top 3, if not probably number 2, honestly. But I don't know yet.
He's another one like just commits to the roles.
100%.
For good or bad.
Yeah.
Because he said he's not going to do it anymore. I don't think with the weight.
Yeah, he said he's done.
We'll see. But this is, I don't know. He has an Oscar for The Fighter, and that's probably his best performance. But this is easily my favorite Christian Bale performance.
100%. Yeah. For both Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
Yeah, just the perfect choice. I can't imagine anybody else auditioning and be like, "Yeah, we'll call you back." Like, no, I'm not calling you at all. Christian Bale audition. That's it. We're starting production tomorrow. Just absolute perfection.
I think he does perfectly with both Bruce Wayne and with Batman too.
Yeah.
Despite what your criticisms may be about this version of Batman, like whether you don't like his voice or whatever decisions they made as filmmaking, I think he does it fantastic. And the voice I'll stand by is like, for that Batman, unless you do a voice changer like with Ben Affleck, what else were you going to try to do with his voice? He would have to change it. Like, he would make it deeper. He would do that. So I like that. Just how he plays both those sides in the films too, with Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, where he plays that, Batman Begins when he goes in the pool and swimming with those two models. And he plays that version of Bruce Wayne that's supposed to be that playboy, stupid, not care in the world. But then he also has that weight of who he really is and him delivering that in every scene. If you didn't get won over by him in Batman Begins, which you should have, his performance in The Dark Knight takes it to a whole nother level. As well in The Dark Knight Rises too.
Best performance.
Which I think he should have got some sort of nomination for Dark Knight Rises, honestly. But completely overlooked. But yeah, everything after he loses Rachel in The Dark Knight, that scene where he's sitting there with Alf, like, man, it's fantastic. But that's my number 2 favorite character of the decade.
Awesome. How many you got? I've got 2 left.
I have 2 left as well. My 4 and 3.
All right, I got my 3 and 1.
I'll go ahead and say my number 4 then, because that's somebody I know you've already done. And that is The Bride from Kill Bill. Made it to my number 4. I'm going to rewatch these movies soon, because I know Sarah hasn't watched Volume 2. I think she's only seen the first one, the first volume. So half of the movie, essentially. But we're gonna watch all of that, and because I like Kill Bill 2, Volume 2 a lot. It's the first one I think I have a lot lower. I still like it, but I'm gonna watch it again, and hopefully the overall experience gets better for me. But I love her character. Obviously, she's my number 4, but just that story, revenge, and how dedicated her character is to killing Bill, and just her journey. And I think Uma Thurman does a really good job playing that character, and carrying you through that story.
Yeah, like I say, she's 13 on my list, but I think if I rewatched it, like I say, Lucy Liu's character might be higher. But who knows?
Well, with that being said, I don't want to kill Bill 3.
No Kill Bill because there's no Bill, so you can't have a Kill Bill 3.
No.
Right. My number 3, I have Daniel Plainview. There Will Be Blood. Like you said, I don't know. That's why I was making that face when you're talking about not a great guy. I don't understand this argument.
You think he's a good guy?
I don't know what do you think he would make? I mean, are you considering him a villain?
I mean, he's the protagonist of his story.
But do you consider him a villain?
I wouldn't consider. I mean, to be a villain,
he's just
you have
really
to have a hero, and there's no hero in the story. It's just him.
That's what I don't know. I don't like watching the movie. I can't think of anything he did wrong. He's just really ambitious. Ethically, yeah, he did some questionable stuff.
Okay, let's talk about everything with his son.
That's not his son.
Okay, well, that's part of it right there. It is his son. He raised him, so it's his son, not his biological son. But the fact, first of all, I don't even know if this kid's mom was around. Because he just
clearly not around if he's taking him to work.
I don't know. You can assume that, but you can also assume
if his actual dad was taking him to work, then I'm assuming she's not around.
Okay, we can make that assumption.
Yeah.
She might be dead. Maybe
that's what I'm assuming.
We can make that assumption. But he takes this kid on his, and he first of all he gives the kid alcohol in the first scene that he has with him.
Well, they did that a lot back then to calm him down. People still do that. Put a little alcohol in there. People still do that. Put a little bit of alcohol when they're teething and stuff. You don't just pour them a shot. It's just a few drops. That's still a thing.
Oh, I don't know anybody who does that.
I don't know if
that's
absolutely what.
I'm not saying people don't do it, but
you'll do it.
No. He just straight up gives this baby whiskey. Then he takes this kid, and not even that he feels sorry for it or wants to take it on his own. He takes this kid for his own gain. Like you said, I mean, he is ambitious, but that's a bad thing. He takes it, and he's taking it around to meeting different people. It's I'm a family man. Mom died in childbirth, which maybe the mom mom actually did. Maybe that's where he got that story from. But still, he does it for his own career gain. And then
with this character, there's a huge gap in between him being an infant and then when you see him again.
Yeah.
So we don't. I mean, to begin with, he could have taken this kid just to be a good guy.
Maybe.
You can.
I doubt it.
That's a hard argument to make, but That's what I'm saying.
And you know, he does bad things. He doesn't go with the kid. He tricks him, puts him on the train, doesn't go with him. And you can, I know, defend that with the being ambitious and not leaving and all that.
He'll
And
mad about it later.
he does. He does.
So, I mean, he does have some kind of heart.
But then at the end too, when his kid's older, that's a scene that like it's my least favorite scene in the film.
Just because of what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry to say. Oh, it's a great.
Not
scene.
that it's bad acted or anything.
Yeah.
But the fact that he makes that decision, I can understand him being mad about it, but like, I don't know, just.
Well, that's very true to the character, though.
I mean, it would be as a competition.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, he was going to Mexico to do it, so I don't know how. Like, were you already drilling and stuff in Mexico, or?
Well, he's in California, so.
It's possible.
He has the pipeline. Yeah. I love this character so much. It's a lot, like I say, on this list, a lot of the acting is to do with why they're on this high. And this is easily Daniel Day-Lewis's best acting of all time.
And this is your number one?
This is my number 3.
Have you already said your number one?
I mentioned it because you brought it up earlier, but I haven't talked about it.
Okay.
But yeah, just Daniel Day-Lewis's best performance. I could argue the best performance of all time. Yeah. So many layers to this character. Like you say, when he does things, you're not sure. Bless you.
Thank you.
Why exactly he's doing it? Like I say, with the kid. To begin with, you could say, if we had seen that whole gap, maybe it would have changed. But just all these layers with the character. Literally just wanting to drill oil. Just everybody getting in his way. And the 2 people that got in his way died from him. So I don't know why you would continue to mess with this person.
Moving on to my number 3, and this is the last one on my list. So you just have one more left, right?
Yeah.
My number 3, final person on my list. This is one that was going to surprise you. That is Benjamin Button.
God.
Yeah, made it on my list. Benjamin Button for The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Once again, this is another Brad Pitt played character. Probably why he's so high. I mean, he would be lower if it wasn't for Brad Pitt, who, like I said, just elevates everything for me. But I really like the character too. Obviously, you know, very unique, the story and the character, but he's such a good-hearted character. Cares about everybody, all the people around him, even from an old kid to an old baby. All of the decisions he makes, it makes decisions for other people, cares about them, being in love, the decision, and then ultimately, you know, like you follow through him through all of these different things in his life, and then to the point where he has a kid, and he has to make that difficult decision to leave, not because he doesn't want to be there for the kid, but that he's going to, as he gets older, become a kid himself, and what that will do to his child and the woman he loves. So he makes the decision to leave, and it's just, oh man, can't. So emotional.
I don't know. See, that was one thing I didn't like about the character.
That he leaves?
And it has been a while since I've seen it. Well, that you left, like you said, because you didn't want to affect their lives in that way. Well, then, like, I don't think you should have had a kid instead of just dipping out on it.
Well, I don't think they intended to have the kid.
Well, you had to
kind of an accident.
You had to know what was going to happen. But that's what kind of brought it down is like you did leave. And then that, like, a lot of people would argue, like, who don't have, you know, a dad or a mom, like, you don't know, like, that would have affected his life negatively.
The daughter?
It would have been different. Yeah, but I'm saying what would have been worse, him being there as himself or just leaving and not having a dad?
Well, that's the tough decision he had to make.
Yeah.
I mean,
should have just not had a kid.
well,
if you're going to dip out on it.
Okay, Andy from The Office.
Well, I mean that's just me. Like, if you're gonna just leave,
He didn't. I mean, they could have got an abortion, I guess, but that wasn't something they really talked about or discussed in the film. They didn't intend to have the kid, and they ended up having it. And he was, even before the kid was born, when they were just having conversations about it while she was pregnant. You could tell
he wasn't sticking around.
I don't think he'd made that decision yet, but like he didn't know what to do, and he was scared because of first of all, he was worried his kid was going to have the same condition he was going to have, and have to live like that and be different. But then he was also afraid of the fact that he wasn't going to be there for the kid because he's going to get younger. It'd be weird for the kid. Didn't know how they would act, but also her, her having to take care of him as a kid and not being able to be her age and not being able to be somebody who could be a partner for her. I mean, obviously they're not going to go on dates when he's, 12 or whatever, like, so, and that's such a tough decision too, because then he leaves, he's gone for however many years till the girl's older, probably like a teenager, and she's moved on, got married, and all this, and then he comes back and sees her again when he's probably like 18, 19.
Yeah.
Is what he looks like physically. And, he obviously can't talk to his daughter, have any sort of contact with her to disrupt her life. And then he obviously ends up back in that home at the end of the movie when he starts losing his memory, and she takes care of him. But I don't know. I love the character. The movie itself got a 4 out of 5 for me. This first time I watched it. It may move up in the future, but there was some stuff with the whole movie. It was a little bit long, and like the scenes with the daughter talking to the older Cate Blanchett and going back and forth. Wasn't a huge fan of that, but love the character. And that's all of my list.
I have one more, and it's just the Joker, which is my number 1 overall.
I'm sorry.
Man, that's messed up. He is obviously a villain, but just his only purpose is just for chaos. It's not. It's just a change, and it's. I don't know. I guess it is chaos, but it's really just to shake things up from what they normally are.
Yeah.
Like I say, when you get some money, he just burns it. Doesn't matter. It's just money.
Yeah.
And that's all you guys were obsessed with. And then, but talking about killing Batman, it's like, why would I kill you? It's like, go back to ripping off mob bosses. No, it's like, y'all, perfect 2 sides of the coin right there.
But he thinks Batman's crazy too. I mean, it is the guy who dresses up as a bat.
Batman is crazy. He's literally multiple personalities. So you would literally.
You could argue that.
That is the argument. Especially that Joker's making. Like, obviously he doesn't. Well, it's never clear if he knows that that's Bruce Wayne. I don't think he does, because I definitely think he would have called that out.
You think so?
I don't think he knows that Batman's Bruce Wayne. If we'd have had a third film, I think he would have known. But
yeah,
at this,
I
don't think he knows that Batman has a thing with Rachel, whoever that is.
Yeah.
But like you said, in the Dark Knight, he's posing as Bruce Wayne, with the models in the pool, or in Batman Begins, and then so he definitely has 2 different personalities.
Well, see, I don't know if I would consider that 2 different personalities, because that's something that's an act. That's not him like being like Two-Face, where he's like,
Well, see, Bruce Wayne is the act
Exactly.
to me.
Batman is him. That is actually is him.
I don't know. Yeah, I think he's crazy for sure.
I mean, you could make that argument, definitely.
But that's what I think. Just all the layers to this character. You never actually figure out why he does what he does. Anything about his past is just gray. The one time you do get to see him without any makeup or anything is just for like a split second. Face is all messed up. So
I know there was another version that he told that I guess they cut, right? Where he was hanging himself with piano wire and slipped.
yeah, there's only 2 in the movie.
Yeah, but that was another one that was
just adds to the the character. Fully crazy overall. Just all madness. Like I say, just Heath Ledger's one of the best performances of all time. But yeah.
How do you think things would have been if he had been in The Dark Knight Rises?
Probably nominated again and won.
Maybe. I don't know. I do wish he had been in that though. I think that would have been cool to see him return.
Right.
And ultimately, I think he would have been the one that killed Bane in that movie too.
Well, yeah, because like they're just totally different. But that would have been fine with me.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's our top 10 favorite movie characters of the 2000s. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back with a new episode of Top Shelf next week.